Have you ever stood beneath the night sky and wondered why the pyramids of Egypt, those colossal stone giants rising from the sands, continue to defy human understanding? Before we step deeper into tonight's story, take a few seconds to like this video, let me know in the comments where you are listening from, and subscribe to the channel if, of course, you are truly ready to step into the shadows of history. Now, take a deep breath, settle in, and let us begin. Picture yourself standing at the base of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The desert is silent except for the whisper of the wind. Moonlight brushes against weathered limestone blocks stacked so high, they seem to touch the stars. You tilt your head back, and for a moment you feel impossibly small, like a grain of sand staring up at a mountain. The Great Pyramid has been here for over 4,500 years, longer than most of human civilization. You might think to yourself, it is just a tomb, right? But here's the first twist. Many experts argue it was never meant to be just a tomb. Instead, what you are looking at is a riddle carved in stone, a monument wrapped in layers of secrets waiting to be unraveled. As you linger in the moonlit silence, let me take you back in time. Imagine workers thousands of years ago hauling massive blocks of limestone across the desert. Some blocks weighed as much as an elephant. How did they move them without cranes, bulldozers, or even wheels strong enough to hold that kind of weight? The official story says wooden sleds and manpower. But here's the curious part. Scientists have found evidence suggesting they may have used water to lubricate the sand, creating a kind of ancient engineering trick that reduced friction. Yet, even that explanation feels incomplete. Could millions of blocks, precisely aligned, truly be placed with only ropes, wood, and sweat? Or was there something else at work, something we have forgotten, or something not entirely human? Pause for a second and think about this. If someone asked you to build a monument that would last forever, how would you do it? Would you rely only on the muscles of thousands of laborers? Or would you search for a secret, a hidden formula, something that bends the laws of nature to your will when you stare at the Great Pyramid? You are not just looking at history. You are looking at proof that humans once accomplished the impossible. The question is, did they do it alone? Let us take another step closer. You run your hand along the cool limestone. Each block fits so tightly with the next that you can't even slide a credit card between them. There is no mortar, no glue, just stone against stone, locked together in a way that has survived earthquakes, storms, and thousands of years of erosion. Architects today admit that duplicating such precision on this scale would be nearly impossible with modern tools. Doesn't that make you wonder if there is knowledge hidden within those stones, knowledge we have lost? Now, imagine walking toward the pyramid's entrance. The desert air is warm, but as soon as you step inside, the temperature drops. Your footsteps echo against the stone corridor, and the sound feels almost alive, as if the pyramid itself is listening. The deeper you go, the heavier the silence becomes. Some visitors have described hearing strange humming, like a vibration within the walls. Others speak of feeling watched, as if unseen eyes were following them through the darkness. Whether it is imagination or something real, you can't help but feel the weight of history pressing down on you. Here's a thought to make your skin prickle. What if the pyramid was not just built to house the dead, but to communicate with forces beyond our understanding? Some researchers suggest that its shape, the perfect pyramid, is not just symbolic, it might channel energy. The idea might sound wild, but remember, the pyramid's design aligns almost perfectly with the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. It is as if whoever built it wanted to connect Earth with the cosmos. And so, as you stand in the dim corridor, your hand brushing against stone laid thousands of years ago, you hear a whisper inside yourself. What secrets are still hidden here? That whisper is what has driven explorers, scientists, and dreamers for centuries. Tonight, it drives you too. This is not just a bedtime story. This is a journey, a descent into mysteries that may never be fully solved, but will keep you awake long after the lights go out. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You are standing in the middle of the desert, under a blazing sun, surrounded by thousands of workers. Before you, a limestone block the size of a small car rests on the ground. It weighs several tons. Now ask yourself, how would you move it? You do not have cranes, no modern trucks, no steel machines. All you have is wood, rope, and human strength. Sounds impossible, does not it? Yet somehow, the Egyptians not only moved one of these blocks, they moved over 2 million of them to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Here's where the mystery deepens. The average limestone block weighed about 2.5 tons, but some granite blocks inside the king's chamber weighed up to 80 tons. 80 tons, that is heavier than a fully loaded semi-truck. These were transported from quarries more than 500 miles away, through rough terrain and across the Nile. How did they manage it? The traditional explanation is manpower and sleds. Workers supposedly dragged these blocks across the desert on wooden sleds, pouring water on the sand to reduce friction. It is clever, yes, but even with this trick, the logistics are staggering. Imagine thousands of men straining against ropes, inching forward under the scorching Egyptian sun. The sound of groaning would, ropes creaking, sand grinding beneath. Would that truly be enough to lift civilization's most ambitious monument? Now let us consider the ramps theory. Archaeologists have suggested that massive ramps were built to haul the blocks upward as the pyramid grew higher. Some say straight ramps, others spiral ramps wrapping around the pyramid like a colossal corkscrew. But here's the catch: to build a ramp tall and strong enough to reach the top, you would need more material than the pyramid itself. The ramp alone would have been a construction project greater than the pyramid. Strangely, we have found no evidence of such gigantic ramps left behind in the desert. If they existed, where are they now? And then there is the precision. Each block had to be cut, shaped, and set into place with incredible accuracy. Remember, these were not rough piles of stone. The blocks fit together so tightly that many are sealed with joints thinner than a human hair. Some walls inside the pyramid look as though they were laser cut. But how could ancient Egyptians, armed only with copper chisels and stone hammers, achieve that level of perfection? Copper tools would have worn down after a few strikes against granite. So what did they really use? Did they know of stronger metals? Did they harness a forgotten technique? One we can't even imagine today. Pause and ask yourself, if you had to build this pyramid with your own hands, would you be able to? Could you gather enough people, design a flawless plan, and keep everyone alive and working for decades? Or would you seek help from something beyond? This is why so many researchers, historians, and dreamers have questioned whether the Egyptians had access to a secret technology. Some whisper of sonic levitation, using sound waves to lift stone. Others speculate about magnets, or even extraterrestrial intervention. While mainstream science scoffs at these ideas, the truth remains, no one has fully solved the riddle of construction. But here's a lighter thought to balance the mystery. Imagine being one of those workers. It is noon, the sun is burning, and you are dragging a block across the sand. Suddenly your supervisor yells, "Faster! Pharaoh wants the pyramid done before his afterlife vacation." You might laugh because to you, it feels less like building a tomb and more like stacking Lego bricks the size of cars. And yet, those workers, ordinary men and women, were part of something extraordinary. Their sweat, their lives, created a wonder that still stands today. Now, as you step deeper into this vision, the sun fades. Night has returned, and you are back beneath the glowing stars. You stand again before the Great Pyramid. But now you see it differently. Not just as a tomb, not just as stone, but as a puzzle. Every block, every angle, every joint whispers a question. How? And as that question lingers, you feel drawn to know more, not just about the stones, but about the knowledge hidden within their perfect geometry. That is where we are heading next, into the mathematical and astronomical secrets that may unlock the pyramid's true purpose. Numbers have a way of whispering truths that words cannot. When you look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, you are not just seeing stone piled high. You are seeing a monument encoded with mathematics so precise it seems almost otherworldly. Tonight, as you walk with me deeper into this mystery, imagine yourself holding a torch inside the pyramid. The flickering light dances across the walls, and hidden in the geometry around you lies a silent language of numbers. Let us start with the base. Each side of the Great Pyramid was originally about 755 feet long. Multiply that by 4 and you get 3,020 feet. Now, here's where it gets eerie. Divide that number by the pyramid's height, 481 feet, and you arrive astonishingly close to 3.14159. That is right. Pi. The ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter is encoded into a massive stone structure built thousands of years before modern mathematics officially discovered it. Was that a coincidence, or did the builders know more than we give them credit for? And it does not stop there. The slope of the pyramid's sides is about 51.5 degrees, which also happens to approximate the golden ratio, phi. If you have ever studied nature, the spiral of seashells, the pattern of galaxies, even the proportions of your own body, you have seen phi at work. It is a universal blueprint, a hidden code of beauty and balance. So why does it appear written in stone in the Great Pyramid? Was it intentional? Did the Egyptians see themselves not just as builders, but as mathematicians of the cosmos? Now take another step inside. Imagine you are in the king's chamber, a granite room at the heart of the pyramid. The dimensions of this chamber echo mathematical constants too. Some researchers argue the chamber encodes the Pythagorean theorem long before Pythagoras was even born. It is as if the pyramid is not just a tomb. It is a textbook, a book of numbers, geometry, and ratios written in stone instead of ink. Pause and ask yourself, if you were an ancient architect, why would you go to such lengths to weave mathematics into a building? Was it symbolic? A way to honor the gods? Was it practical, ensuring the structure would endure for millennia? Or could it be something far more profound? That the pyramid was meant as a bridge between Earth and the universe, a way of aligning humanity with the mathematical laws of creation itself. Here's a fun way to think about it. Imagine inviting a modern mathematician to dinner inside the Great Pyramid. As they measure the walls, the angles, the proportions, they might put down their calculator in shock and say, "Wait a second. This should not be possible." And you would laugh. Because thousands of years ago, without calculators or computers, people had already carved those same truths into stone. Of course, skeptics argue that we are projecting meaning onto random numbers. They say if you look hard enough, you can find pi or phi anywhere. And maybe they are right. But if it is all just coincidence, why does the pyramid line up so perfectly with these constants? Why did the builders take such incredible care with every angle and proportion? Even if they did not know the names pi or phi, they clearly understood that certain ratios mattered, that numbers had power. Think about how this connects to you. When you look at the pyramid's precision, you are reminded that humans, without electricity, without machinery, were capable of reaching cosmic truths. It is humbling, is not it? The pyramid becomes more than stone. It becomes a mirror, reflecting back to us the idea that mathematics is not something humans invented, it is something we discovered because it was always there, woven into the universe. Now picture yourself stepping back outside. The stars blaze overhead. You notice something extraordinary. The pyramid itself is aligned almost perfectly with true north. Only a fraction of a degree off, more accurate than many modern buildings. Think about that. With nothing but the naked eye, they mapped the heavens so precisely that their monument still points north after 4,500 years. If you were holding a compass right now, it would practically bow to the pyramid. Doesn't that give you chills? And this is just the beginning. Because if the Great Pyramid holds pi, phi, and perfect cardinal alignment, what else does it hold? Is it a giant calendar? A map of the stars, or maybe a key to a knowledge we have barely begun to unlock? These questions, my friend, are what keep the pyramid alive. Not as a relic, but as an eternal mystery. Look up at the night sky. Thousands of stars shimmer like diamonds scattered across black velvet. But in ancient Egypt, those stars were not just distant lights. They were guides, gods, and gateways to eternity. As you stand before the Great Pyramid in your imagination tonight, you begin to realize that this monument was not only about stone, weight, or mathematics. It was also about the heavens. The Egyptians did not just build for Earth, they built for the cosmos. Let us start with alignment. The Great Pyramid is oriented almost perfectly with the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. The error is so small that modern engineers admit they would struggle to achieve the same precision without satellites or GPS. How did ancient builders do it? Theories abound. Some suggest they tracked the stars, especially the circumpolar stars that never set, using their eternal motion to mark the true north. Others believe they used the rising and setting of specific constellations to guide the construction. Imagine priests lying on their backs in the desert, staring at the heavens, mapping movements with nothing but their eyes and memory, aligning a structure so massive that even today, compasses bow before it. But the real intrigue comes when we look at Orion's belt. 3 stars, perfectly aligned in a diagonal line. Look at the pyramids of Giza from above, and you will see something remarkable. The 3 pyramids mirror the 3 stars of Orion's belt. Not almost, not kind of, but strikingly close. Was this a coincidence, or was it deliberate? The Egyptians associated Orion with Osiris, the god of the afterlife, and by building pyramids to reflect Orion's belt, they may have been creating a celestial map, a gateway to the heavens for their pharaohs. Now follow me deeper into this idea. The shafts inside the Great Pyramid are not random tunnels. Some of them align with key stars in the sky. For example, one narrow shaft points directly to Orion's belt. Another points towards Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, associated with the goddess Isis. Together, Osiris and Isis represented death and rebirth, male and female, eternity and cycle. Doesn't it seem almost poetic? The pyramid becomes more than stone. It becomes a cosmic machine, aligning the journey of the pharaoh's soul with the eternal dance of the stars. And here's a detail that makes historians scratch their heads. The Egyptians did not just align the pyramids with stars, they may have aligned them with time itself. Some scholars suggest the layout of the pyramids matches Orion's belt not as it appeared in 2500 BCE, but as it appeared thousands of years earlier. That means the builders either inherited ancient star charts or had knowledge of precession, the slow wobble of Earth's axis that changes the stars' positions over millennia. How could they have known that? Did they really track the heavens for thousands of years, passing knowledge from generation to generation, or did they receive guidance from somewhere else, something or someone beyond our world? Let us pause for a playful thought. Imagine being an ancient astronomer. You lie on the cool sand at night, eyes fixed on Orion. Your job? To make sure the pharaoh's pyramid points to the afterlife highway. If you mess up, the king's soul might get lost in the cosmos. No pressure. Right, you would probably triple-check your notes, your torchlight flickering, while priests whisper prayers behind you. Even in that moment of humor, you can sense the gravity of their work. To the Egyptians, the stars were not optional decoration. They were destiny. And think about this, the Great Pyramid's height once reached 481 feet. Multiply that by 1 billion, and you get almost exactly the distance from the Earth to the Sun. Coincidence, perhaps. But when you stack coincidence upon coincidence, pi in the base, phi in the slope, Orion in the layout, you start to wonder if these were coincidences at all. Maybe the pyramid is a kind of message, a way of telling us that the Egyptians saw their world not as separate from the heavens, but as part of it. Now, step outside the pyramid in your mind. Look at the sky above you. Can you see Orion shimmering? Can you trace the stars down to the sand? To the pyramids themselves? For a moment, earth and sky blur together. The desert becomes a mirror of the cosmos. The pyramid is not just a tomb. It is a telescope. It is a time machine. It is a bridge. And as you stand there, the same whisper echoes in your heart. What else have we missed? What other secrets of the stars are hidden in stone? Have you ever felt a chill crawl down your spine when someone mentions a curse? With the pyramids, the word curse is not just a spooky bedtime story. It is a legend that has haunted explorers, archaeologists, and treasure seekers for more than a century. Tonight, as we step deeper into the corridors of the Great Pyramid in our imagination, let me take you into the shadows where whispers of the pharaoh's curse echo like the desert wind. The legend begins with the tombs of Egypt's kings, sealed for thousands of years. Imagine being one of the first explorers to break into a chamber untouched since antiquity. The air is stale, the walls shimmer with ancient inscriptions, and in the dim light of your torch, you see treasures buried with the dead. Gold, amulets, statues, But with that discovery comes fear. Ancient warnings, carved into stone, often declared, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the pharaoh." The most famous tale, of course, is that of Tutankhamun's tomb. When Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon uncovered it in 1922, the world was electrified. But soon after, a series of strange events unfolded. Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's patron, died suddenly from a mysterious infection. Newspapers screamed curse of the pharaoh. Reports claimed his dog howled and dropped dead at the same moment, thousands of miles away. Other members of the team also died in unusual circumstances. Skeptics called it coincidence, pointing to bacteria or accidents. But to the public, the curse was real. The idea that ancient kings could reach out from beyond the grave captured imaginations worldwide. Now, think about standing inside the pyramid at night. The air grows heavy, and your torch flickers. You remember those words, "Death shall come on swift wings." Would you keep exploring, or would you turn back, afraid that you have awakened something ancient, something watching you from the shadows? Science, of course, offers explanations. Some say tombs were sealed with deadly mold spores or toxic gases, waiting to be released after centuries. Disturbing the tomb would expose intruders to invisible killers. Others argue the stories of the curse were exaggerated by the press, feeding into Western fascination with the mystical East. And yet, the timing of so many deaths still makes the skin prickle. Logic does not erase the fear. There is also the psychological side. Imagine you believe deep down that you have angered a god-king. Every strange noise, every cough, every shadow feels like a curse tightening around you. Fear itself becomes a killer. The Egyptians understood the power of belief better than anyone. A curse does not need magic if the mind convinces the body that doom is coming. But let us step outside the fear for a moment and laugh. Imagine being an ancient Egyptian scribe tasked with writing those warnings. You have spent all day carving hieroglyphs in stone. Your back hurts, and finally you sigh, "Fine, let us just add a line that says anyone who opens this tomb will die horribly." That should keep the grave robbers away. And it worked so well, in fact, that thousands of years later, people are still terrified. And yet, even with the humor, the curse still lingers. Countless movies, books, and TV shows have kept the pharaoh's curse alive in modern imagination. It is no longer just about Tutankhamun or Carnarvon. It is about the very idea that some places are not meant to be disturbed, that ancient kings left behind protections not of stone or steel, but of fear and legend. So, as you stand there in the pyramid, the torchlight shaking in your hand, you hear it, a whisper, faint but chilling. Was it the wind through the corridor? Or something older warning you to leave? That is the question explorers have faced for centuries. And maybe, just maybe, it is the question you would face too if you ever dared to break the seal of eternity. Picture yourself holding a lantern as you descend into the dark, narrow corridors of the Great Pyramid. The air is cold, the silence so deep it presses against your ears. And every step you take seems to awaken echoes that have been asleep for thousands of years. Suddenly, you stop. Your light falls on a wall that feels wrong. It does not look like the others. Could it be hiding something for centuries? Whispers of secret chambers inside the pyramids have fired imaginations and terrified hearts alike. The Great Pyramid, despite being studied for over 2 centuries, still has not fully revealed its insides. Archaeologists have mapped the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and the Grand Gallery, but laser scans and thermal imaging in recent years have revealed anomalies, strange voids within the pyramid structure that suggest hidden rooms yet to be explored. Think about that. Even after 4,500 years, this monument might still be hiding spaces no human has entered since the day it was sealed. In 2017, a team of scientists using cosmic ray imaging discovered what they called the Big Void, an empty space above the Grand Gallery, at least 100 feet long. No one knows what it contains. Is it a structural feature, just there to relieve pressure, or is it a hidden chamber, sealed away with treasures or knowledge the world has never seen? Imagine standing at the threshold of such a discovery. Would you dare to open it, knowing that history, legend, and perhaps even curses, stand on the other side. Of course, the idea of hidden rooms is not new. Ancient texts spoke of secret halls beneath the pyramid, and some legends tell of a hall of records. A mythical library said to contain the wisdom of a lost civilization. Some fringe researchers even claim the pyramids hide maps to Atlantis, or prophecies about humanity's future. Mainstream scholars dismiss such theories as fantasy, but the mystery remains. Why are there so many unexplored spaces? Why does the pyramid still hold back its secrets? Now imagine yourself as one of the early explorers in the 1800s. Candle in hand, sweat dripping, you squeeze through a narrow shaft barely wide enough to crawl. The air is suffocating. Dust fills your lungs, and suddenly you emerge into a small chamber no one has seen for millennia. What do you feel? Awe, terror, or the nagging thought that perhaps you have disturbed something better left undisturbed? Here's a chilling thought. Some of the shafts discovered in the pyramid do not lead outside. They end at mysterious doors. Tiny copper handles, still intact, guard what lies beyond. Are they simply decorative, or do they mark gateways to yet another chamber, locked behind stone? Imagine pushing against one of those sealed doors, hearing a hollow echo on the other side. Your heart races. What if it is empty, or worse, what if it is not? And yet, mystery is not always grim. Picture this with a smile. You are the archaeologist who finally opens one of those hidden chambers. Inside, you do not find treasure, mummies, or curses, just a note carved into the wall that says, "Nice try, future humans. Love, Pharaoh." Wouldn't that be the ultimate prank across millennia? But humor aside, the possibility of hidden chambers is very real. Technology is advancing, and with it, the ability to peer deeper into the pyramid without breaking its stones. One day, we may find a chamber filled with artifacts that rewrite history. Or perhaps we will find nothing at all, and that absence itself will be a clue. Proof that the pyramid was designed as much to provoke wonder as to serve function. So tonight, as you let your imagination wander, picture yourself crawling through narrow shafts, lantern trembling in your hand, until you reach a sealed passage. The silence is heavy. You lean close, and for a moment you think you hear something behind the stone, a breath, a heartbeat, or maybe just your own fear. Would you open it, or would you leave it for the next dreamer to discover? Imagine standing in front of the Great Pyramid not as a tourist, but as an engineer. You squint at its massive sides, run your hand across the perfectly fitted stones, and a thought creeps in. How did they do this without machines? The further you look, the stranger it gets. The Egyptians did not just build big. They built with precision so baffling that some researchers wonder whether they possess technologies we have forgotten. Let us start with the cutting of stone. Many blocks in the pyramid are limestone, which is soft compared to granite. But the inner chambers, like the king's chamber, are lined with red granite blocks weighing up to 80 tons each. These stones came from Aswan, more than 500 miles away. Transporting them was one problem. Cutting them was another. The marks on some blocks suggest sawing. But here's the catch. Copper tools were too weak to cut granite. So what did they use? Some theories suggest they employed dolerite pounders, smashing the stone for hours until it cracked. But to achieve the smooth, straight cuts we see, they would have needed thousands of workers pounding endlessly. Could that really explain such flawless results? Others speculate about lost techniques, stone softening chemicals, or even tools tipped with harder metals we have not found. Now consider the drilling. Archaeologists have discovered ancient drill cores in granite that show spiral grooves as if made by high-speed drills. Some grooves are deeper than what modern diamond-tipped drills can achieve under the same conditions. Did the Egyptians somehow master advanced drilling methods? Were they using abrasives like quartz sand, or something entirely unknown? Then there is the precision of alignment. The Great Pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with true north, deviating by only a fraction of a degree. The base is level to within an inch across its entire 13-acre footprint. Imagine trying to do that today without laser levels or satellite positioning. Could you? And yet they did. Was it sheer genius of measurement and persistence, or did they have instruments we no longer understand? Here's a mind-bending thought. Some researchers propose the pyramids were not just tombs but energy devices. They point to the shape of the pyramid as a resonator, capable of channeling Earth's natural vibrations. Tests on pyramid-shaped models have shown strange results. Seeds stored inside sometimes sprout faster. Water seems to change its properties, even blades supposedly sharpen themselves. Most scientists dismiss these experiments as pseudoscience. But does not it make you wonder why pyramid shapes appear in so many cultures around the world? Did the ancient builders tap into some universal principle of energy? And then, of course, there are the more exotic ideas. Some believe the pyramids once generated electricity, perhaps through a combination of underground water channels and conductive materials. Others think sound played a role, that chanting or resonance could lift heavy stones, using acoustic levitation. Imagine priests standing in unison, their voices vibrating the air until stones rose like feathers. Science fiction, perhaps. But ask yourself this: if you saw 2 million blocks perfectly aligned, would you completely rule it out? Now let us lighten the mood. Imagine being one of those ancient engineers. The pharaoh demands, "Build me a monument that lasts forever," and you reply, "Sure, do you want Wi-Fi with that too?" You probably laugh at the absurdity, but part of you wonders if they did no more than we assume. Knowledge lost in the sands of time. The truth is, we do not know for certain. Maybe it was all muscle, ropes, and ramps. Maybe they discovered clever techniques that were never written down. Or maybe, just maybe, they had access to something beyond our current imagination. Either way, the pyramids stand as proof of extraordinary human, or perhaps superhuman capability. So tonight, as you drift in thought, imagine yourself as one of those builders. You hold a tool in your hand, look at the impossible stone before you, and smile. Because somehow, you are not just building for a pharaoh, you are building for eternity. And that, perhaps, is the greatest technology of all. The will to leave behind something that lasts forever. Now comes one of the most controversial and thrilling questions. What if the pyramids were not built by humans alone? As you stand before the Great Pyramid at night, the thought feels outrageous, maybe even laughable, but it is also irresistible. The sheer size, the mathematical precision, the astronomical alignments. They have led some to wonder if humanity had a little help from out there. Let us be clear, mainstream archaeologists reject the idea of aliens. They argue that the pyramids are the product of brilliant human engineering, organization, and labor. And they might be right, but the theory of extraterrestrial involvement has captured imaginations across the world, especially since the mid-20th century. Why? Because the pyramids do not just look like human monuments, they look like messages. Consider this: the Great Pyramid was, for thousands of years, the tallest structure on Earth, not surpassed until the Eiffel Tower in 1889. Why would ancient humans pour such enormous effort into building something so colossal? To honor a king, to create a tomb, or to send a signal? Visible from the stars themselves, imagine you are an alien traveler passing by Earth thousands of years ago. From orbit, what shape would stand out most against the desert sands? A pyramid, massive and gleaming in the sun. Then there is the matter of construction techniques. Theories of levitation, sound resonance, or energy manipulation often tie back to the idea that maybe, just maybe, someone beyond Earth shared knowledge with the Egyptians. Ancient carvings in some temples even show strange figures with elongated heads, large eyes, and objects resembling flying machines. Of course, most Egyptologists insist these are symbolic depictions of gods, not aliens. But for those who believe, the images look suspiciously like visitors from the stars. Now think about the Dogon tribe in Africa, thousands of miles from Egypt. Their ancient lore describes the star Sirius and its invisible companion star. Knowledge they should not have had without telescopes. Could advanced beings have shared this knowledge, just as they may have shared it with Egypt? Skeptics argue it is myth and coincidence. Believers say it is proof of contact. And here's a thought experiment: if you were an alien species, and you wanted to leave a marker on Earth, a calling card to say we were here, would not you build something that could last tens of thousands of years? Wouldn't you align it with the stars and code mathematics into its design? and make it so massive it could never be ignored. Doesn't that sound like the Great Pyramid? Of course, some theories go even further. They suggest the pyramids were not just monuments but machines, ancient power plants that harness cosmic energy. In this view, the pyramid was not about pharaohs at all but about science far beyond our own. Some fringe thinkers even argue the pyramid once transmitted energy wirelessly. A precursor to technologies Nikola Tesla would dream about thousands of years later. Let us add a little humor. Imagine an alien supervising construction. A pharaoh asks, "How long will it take to build my tomb?" The alien shrugs and says, "A couple decades if you use humans, or about 10 minutes if we use anti-gravity." The pharaoh frowns, "Fine, but make sure it impresses the neighbors." Jokes aside, the alien theory persists because it speaks to our deepest wonder. Are we alone? The pyramids embody that question. They stand like stone lighthouses, their message silent but unyielding. Some see human genius, others see extraterrestrial fingerprints. Maybe both are true. Maybe the pyramids are a collaboration, a handshake across the stars. So as you gaze at the Great Pyramid under the endless sky, ask yourself, is it only human hands that shaped these wonders, or does every block of stone whisper of a visitor, long gone, who once walked among us? Close your eyes and picture the pyramids not as ruins for tourists, but as holy mountains. For the ancient Egyptians, these were not just tombs or monuments of stone. They were ladders to eternity, gateways for the soul, and symbols of divine order. Every block carried meaning. Every angle whispered of gods. Tonight, we step into that sacred dimension and uncover how deeply religion shaped the pyramids. The Egyptians believed life was only part of a grand cycle. Death was not the end. It was a journey, a passage to another world. The pyramid was designed as the vessel for that journey. Its pointed shape symbolized the rays of the sun, which the pharaoh's soul would climb to join Ra, the sun god, in his daily voyage across the sky. Imagine standing before the Great Pyramid as dawn breaks, the sunlight hitting its smooth limestone casing. To an ancient Egyptian, this was not just beautiful, it was divine proof that the pharaoh had become one with the cosmos. Inside the pyramid, the chambers were not arranged randomly. The king's chamber, the queen's chamber, and the shafts pointing to stars were deliberate architectural prayers. Each one linked the ruler to Osiris, the god of the underworld, and to Isis, the goddess of rebirth. Together, they formed the eternal cycle of death and renewal. The pyramid was not just stone stacked, it was a cathedral carved into desert bedrock. Now think about the texts buried with the kings. The pyramid texts, some of the oldest religious writings in the world, were inscribed on the walls of tombs. These spells and hymns guided the pharaoh's soul through the perils of the afterlife, crossing rivers of fire, battling serpents, and standing in judgment before the gods. Without the right words, the king's spirit might be lost forever. Imagine yourself lying in the dark chamber, hearing those words whispered as protection, chants echoing through eternity, carved to last as long as the stone itself. But it was not just about the pharaoh. The pyramid was a cosmic statement to the people. Its sheer size reminded every villager, every laborer, that their king was divine, that he would live forever, and so too would Egypt. Religion and power intertwined. To serve the pharaoh was to serve the gods. Building the pyramid was not just labor, it was devotion. Every stone lifted was an act of faith. And yet, there is a haunting beauty in this. Imagine being one of those workers, sweating under the sun, but believing that by placing one more block, you were ensuring your king's eternal life. Maybe you would joke with your friend, "If I lift one more stone, maybe I will get a good afterlife upgrade too." You would laugh, but in your heart you would feel part of something greater than yourself. The pyramid's religious symbolism also tied to the concept of Ma'at, the cosmic order. Everything in Egypt had to reflect balance and harmony. Between life and death, heaven and earth, chaos and order. The pyramid, perfectly proportioned and aligned, was a physical expression of Ma'at. By building it, the Egyptians were not just honoring their king. They were stabilizing the universe itself. Now pause and imagine this moment. Night falls, the stars shimmer, and priests climb the steps of the pyramid carrying torches. They chant hymns to Ra and Osiris, their voices rising into the desert air. The pyramid glows faintly in the firelight, and for a moment, you believe you are standing at the center of the cosmos, where man, God, and universe meet. So the next time you think of pyramids as lifeless stones, remember, to the Egyptians they were alive. They breathed with spirit. They shone with godly power. And perhaps even now, when you stand before them, you can still feel that pulse, the heartbeat of a faith that refused to die. If stones could speak, the pyramids would tell not only history but stories, myths whispered by desert winds, legends carved into the memory of humankind. Tonight, let us leave the archaeologist's tools behind and step into the realm of imagination, where fact and folklore blur, and the pyramids become the stage of timeless tales. In ancient Egypt, the pyramids were not just monuments. They were wrapped in myths. Some believed they were built by the gods themselves, placed on earth as eternal beacons of power. Others said they were mountains shaped by divine hands, standing as the very pillars that held up the sky. Imagine walking through the desert thousands of years ago and seeing those massive structures rise from the horizon. It must have felt like entering the realm of gods. One legend speaks of secret books of wisdom buried beneath the pyramids. These texts, supposedly written by Thoth, the god of knowledge, contain secrets of the universe. How to control the stars, command the elements, and even achieve immortality. For centuries, adventurers have searched for these mythical scrolls, convinced that the pyramids guard a cosmic library waiting to be unlocked. Then there are the darker tales. Some myths say the pyramids were prisons for demons, constructed to lock away forces too dangerous to roam the world. Imagine the pharaoh not as a ruler, but as a jailer of ancient evils, commanding his people to build colossal stone cages. Every block was a lock, every corridor a chain, and every whisper of wind in those halls, a reminder of what still sleeps inside. Legends also tell of glowing lights atop the pyramids, beams that shot into the heavens as if signaling the gods. Some later storytellers even imagined the pyramids as part of a network of power, stations spread across the earth, each one connected by invisible lines of energy. To stand at the pyramid's peak at night, under the stars, might have felt like standing at the center of an invisible web, tied directly to the cosmos. And of course, myths travel far. In medieval times, Arab scholars spun stories about the pyramids being built before the Great Flood, by wise kings who wanted to preserve all knowledge from destruction. According to these tales, the pyramids held treasures of science, magic, and prophecy, sealed away until the day humanity was ready. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, why do myths cling to the pyramids like desert sand? Perhaps because the pyramids are not only stone. They are symbols. They invite wonder. They demand explanation. And when history cannot provide an answer, imagination steps in. Let us add a lighter twist. Picture a storyteller in an ancient Egyptian tavern, wine in hand, spinning tales to an eager crowd. I tell you, my cousin's uncle's brother saw a beam of light shoot from the pyramid into the stars. The crowd gasps. Another man interrupts, nonsense. Everyone knows it is a giant bread oven for the gods. Laughter erupts. Even in antiquity, myths were not just about fear, they were entertainment. A way to connect people through shared wonder. What makes these legends so powerful is that they still resonate today. Movies, novels, and games continue to reinvent the pyramids as places of hidden power. Haunted chambers and cosmic secrets. Whether it is Indiana Jones, The Mummy, or science fiction epics, the pyramids live on as mythic engines of imagination. So as you stand before them in your mind tonight, remember, the pyramids are more than monuments of stone. They are monuments of story. They hold not only the weight of history, but the endless layers of human imagination. And maybe, just maybe, the truth is hidden somewhere between the myth and the stone. History, as we know it, is often written by what is found in the sand, and by how it is interpreted. The pyramids have given us treasures of knowledge, but they have also sparked fiery debates. Some discoveries have shaken the academic world, others have fueled wild theories, and many remain trapped between fact and speculation. Tonight, let us walk through the most controversial discoveries hidden in the pyramid's shadow. One of the strangest debates centers on the age of the pyramids themselves. Mainstream Egyptology insists they were built around 2500 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. But alternative researchers argue they might be much older, citing weathering patterns on the Sphinx and pyramid stones that resemble erosion caused by heavy rainfall. Rain that has not fallen on the Giza Plateau in thousands of years. If that is true, then the pyramids could predate known Egyptian civilization by millennia. Imagine what that would mean: an advanced culture, lost to history, leaving behind only these monumental fingerprints. Another controversy arises from the artifacts, or lack thereof, inside the pyramids. Unlike Tutankhamun's tomb, the Great Pyramid contained no golden treasures. No mummies, no ornate sarcophagi when it was first entered in modern times. Was it looted in antiquity, stripped bare by thieves, or was it never intended as a burial chamber in the first place? Some archaeologists suggest it was always symbolic, while fringe theorists claim it served as an energy device or initiation hall. The absence of burial goods is as loud as their presence would have been. Then there are the anomalies revealed by modern technology. In recent years, thermal scans of the Great Pyramid detected mysterious hotspots on its surface. Areas that seem warmer than the surrounding stone, hinting at hidden cavities or air currents. Cosmic ray scans revealed the massive big void above the Grand Gallery, yet to be explored. Each new discovery reignites debates. Are we on the brink of finding lost chambers, or are these just natural quirks of ancient architecture? And let us not forget the strange objects sometimes reported near pyramid sites. In the 1800s, explorers claimed to have found small metallic spheres with properties unlike any known metal. Others described hieroglyphs that seemed to depict helicopters, submarines, or airplanes, images that fueled speculation about lost technology. Most scholars dismissed these as either misinterpretations or later carvings, but to many, they remain tantalizing hints that the Egyptians knew more than we assume. Imagine being an archaeologist at the heart of these debates. You uncover a stone with markings no one can explain. At a conference, one camp says, "It is just symbolic art." Another camp shouts, "No, it is evidence of ancient advanced knowledge." And you, stuck in the middle, sip your coffee and think, maybe it is both and neither. Controversy in archaeology often says more about us, about our hunger for mystery, than it does about the stone itself. Let us add a touch of humor. Picture two archaeologists arguing at the pyramid's base. One says it was built in 2500 BCE, the other snaps, "No, it is at least 10,000 years old." A camel nearby sighs and thinks, "Does it matter? I am still carrying your gear." Sometimes, the desert is the only one not impressed by human debates. Yet these controversies keep the pyramids alive. They ensure that Giza is not a dead monument but a living question mark. Every anomaly, every unexplained detail, is an invitation to keep searching, keep questioning, keep wondering. And maybe that is the point. Maybe the pyramids were meant to be controversial, to force every generation to ask, what are we missing? So as you stand tonight under the silent gaze of these colossal stones, remember, the truth of the pyramids is not fixed. It is shifting sand. A story rewritten with every new discovery. And somewhere out there, beneath stone or desert, another revelation waits, ready to challenge everything we thought we knew. When you think of pyramids, your mind probably travels straight to Egypt, sand dunes, the Nile, and the towering monuments of Giza. But here's the twist. Egypt is not the only place where pyramids rise from the earth. Across oceans and continents, in jungles and deserts, other civilizations also built their own versions of these sacred shapes. Were these coincidences, or were they echoes of a universal knowledge that connected ancient humanity? Tonight, let us journey beyond Egypt and explore how pyramids appear across the world. Start with Mesoamerica. Deep in the jungles of Mexico, the Maya built pyramids like the Pyramid of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza. Unlike the smooth-sided Egyptian pyramids, these had step terraces leading to temples at the top. But the symbolism was strikingly similar. They were sacred mountains, connecting Earth with the heavens. During the equinox, sunlight creates the illusion of a serpent slithering down the steps of Kukulkan, a cosmic show carved into stone. Doesn't that remind you of Egypt's own fascination with aligning stone to the movements of the heavens? Travel a little further to Teotihuacan, the mysterious city of the gods in central Mexico. There you will find the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon. Enormous structures aligned with celestial events. The culture that built them remains shrouded in mystery, but their ambition mirrors that of Egypt. To create monuments that outlast time, monuments that mirror the cosmos. Now shift to South America. The Inca and their predecessors built pyramid-like structures too, though often made of adobe brick rather than limestone. They served as ceremonial centers, stairways to the divine. And on the other side of the world, in China, archaeologists have uncovered dozens of pyramid-shaped burial mounds. Some are massive, rivaling the scale of Egypt's. Many are still hidden under vegetation, unexcavated, guarded as if they still hold secrets. Why did so many cultures, separated by oceans with no known contact, choose the pyramid? One answer is simple: stability. A pyramid's broad base and narrow top make it one of the most stable architectural forms, able to stand for millennia. But another answer is far more intriguing. Maybe humanity everywhere instinctively associated the pyramid shape with reaching toward the heavens, with channeling energy upward, with immortality. Here's a playful thought. Imagine an ancient global architects club. One Inca builder, one Egyptian scribe, one Mayan priest, and one Chinese emperor sit around a table. The Egyptian says, "We built ours smooth and shiny." The Mayan replies, "We added stairs for the gods to walk down." The Inca shrugs, "We used mud bricks." But the idea's the same. The Chinese emperor smiles, "Mine are still buried. You will find them later." And they all laugh, unknowingly sketching the blueprint of a universal human dream. Some fringe theories suggest a more dramatic explanation, that a single lost civilization, Atlantis, Mu, or another forgotten culture, spread pyramid knowledge across the world before vanishing. Mainstream historians reject this idea, pointing instead to independent invention. But whichever version you prefer, the result is the same. Pyramids are not just Egyptian. They are a global phenomenon, a shared fingerprint of humanity's desire to touch the eternal. So the next time you hear the word pyramid, do not limit yourself to Giza. Imagine a network stretching across continents, each pyramid a node in a forgotten web, each one a silent conversation across time and space. And ask yourself, were these cultures separated? Or were they connected in ways we have only begun to imagine? For thousands of years, the pyramids stood as silent enigmas. But in the modern era, we have armed ourselves with tools the ancients never dreamed of. Lasers, satellites, cosmic rays, artificial intelligence. And with every experiment, the pyramids reveal a little more. And yet, somehow, the mystery only deepens. Tonight, let us explore how cutting-edge technology has tried to peel back the layers of Giza's greatest secret. Start with the cosmic ray scans. In 2017, scientists deployed a technique called muon tomography. Imagine it like an X-ray of the Earth using particles from outer space. These scans revealed something astonishing: a massive cavity inside the Great Pyramid, dubbed the Big Void. It is at least 100 feet long, perched above the Grand Gallery. What is it? Some suggest it is a construction chamber, others a hidden sanctuary. The truth remains unknown, but the discovery proved one thing: the pyramid still holds secrets after 4,500 years. Thermal imaging has also revealed anomalies. In 2015, researchers detected unusual hot spots on the pyramid's surface, suggesting hidden air currents or concealed rooms. Imagine standing there with your infrared camera, watching the ancient stone glow in strange patches of heat. It feels almost alive, as if the pyramid is breathing. Then there is the role of drones and robotics. Narrow shafts too small for humans have been explored using tiny robots equipped with cameras. These machines discovered mysterious doors deep within the pyramid, sealed with copper handles, untouched since antiquity. Behind them, we still do not know. Each discovery feels like a cliffhanger, a locked door in a cosmic puzzle. And now, artificial intelligence is entering the scene. AI can analyze massive amounts of satellite data, detecting subtle patterns invisible to the human eye. Already, this technology has identified potential undiscovered sites beneath Egypt's sands, maybe even new pyramids waiting to be unearthed. Picture a future where AI-guided drones map every grain of desert, revealing hidden chambers without ever lifting a spade. Doesn't that sound like archaeology crossed with science fiction? But experiments have not only been about scanning. Some scientists have tested the pyramid shape itself. In laboratories, pyramid models have been said to preserve food longer, sharpen razor blades, or influence the growth of plants. While many of these experiments are dismissed as pseudoscience, they keep alive the question: is there something about the pyramid's geometry that resonates with unseen forces? Even serious physicists have studied how electromagnetic waves interact with the pyramid shape. The results suggest the Great Pyramid may indeed concentrate energy at specific points, especially in its hidden chambers. Coincidence or ancient knowledge rediscovered? Here's a fun image. Imagine ancient builders smirking in the afterlife, watching us roll out robots, lasers, and satellites just to figure out what they did. One whispers to another, "See, told you it would keep them busy for a few millennia." Modern technology has also reignited debates. Some archaeologists fear that too much probing could damage the pyramid. Others argue that we must push forward, that we are closer than ever to unlocking secrets that could redefine history. What if those sealed chambers hold texts, treasures, or knowledge that could change everything we know about human civilization? And what if they hold nothing, just empty voids designed to spark eternal curiosity? Either way, the experiment never ends. So tonight, as you imagine the Great Pyramid not just as a relic but as a living puzzle, think of this: we are the latest in a line of explorers stretching back thousands of years. From torchlight to cosmic rays, from chisels to AI, each generation brings new tools to the same question: what is the pyramid really for? And perhaps the greatest discovery is not hidden in stone at all. It is in our relentless drive to seek answers. For thousands of years, the pyramids have stood as guardians of the past. But tonight, let us flip the question: what role might they play in our future? Imagine the Great Pyramid not just as an ancient relic, but as a compass pointing us forward, a monument that still shapes human destiny. Start with tourism and cultural heritage. Millions travel to Giza every year, gazing up at the colossal stones, feeling the weight of history. The pyramids are not just symbols of Egypt, they are symbols of humanity itself, proof of what we can achieve. In a world that often feels fragile, they remind us that human effort can outlast empires, wars, and centuries. And as technology evolves, virtual reality and digital reconstructions will allow people everywhere to walk the corridors of the pyramids without ever leaving home. In the future, you might put on a headset and explore chambers still sealed in reality, blending discovery with imagination. But the pyramids may also guide science. Researchers continue to study their geometry, energy interactions, and astronomical alignments. Some physicists suggest that pyramid-shaped structures concentrate electromagnetic energy, sparking experiments that could influence architecture, material science, even energy research. Could it be that the ancient builders left behind not just a tomb, but a blueprint for technologies we have not mastered yet? Then there is space exploration. Believe it or not, the pyramids have inspired visions of humanity's future beyond Earth. Science fiction authors and architects alike imagine pyramid-shaped colonies on Mars or the Moon, structures that combine stability, efficiency, and symbolic meaning. Picture astronauts walking into a Martian pyramid, its design echoing Giza, carrying forward humanity's oldest architectural dream into the stars. Doesn't that give you goosebumps? The pyramids also carry lessons for society. Their construction required massive cooperation, tens of thousands of workers united for decades to achieve a single vision. In today's fractured world, perhaps the greatest lesson they offer is that collective effort can achieve the impossible. Imagine what humanity could build if we work together with the same focus. Not just pyramids, but solutions to climate change, disease, and inequality. Of course, there is another angle, mystery itself. The pyramids continue to fuel imagination, from Hollywood films to video games, from novels to conspiracy theories. And maybe that is part of their future role, not to be solved completely, but to remain enigmas that keep us questioning, dreaming, exploring. After all, if the pyramids suddenly gave up all their secrets, would we stop caring? Perhaps their power lies in the fact that they always leave us wanting more. Here's a playful thought. Imagine the pyramids thousands of years from now, long after modern skyscrapers have crumbled. Aliens land on Earth, walking through ruined cities, and then they see the pyramids still standing. One turns to another and says, well, at least these humans built something worth keeping. The joke is lighthearted, but it holds truth. The pyramids may outlast us, carrying our story farther than we can imagine. So, the pyramids and the future, they will continue to inspire, to challenge, to endure. They are not just monuments of stone, but monuments of possibility. And as you close your eyes tonight, remember this: maybe the pyramids are not only relics of the past. Maybe they are promises, promises carved in stone, waiting for us to live up to them. The desert is silent. The stars glitter above. And there, rising from the sands as they have for millennia, stand the pyramids, immovable, unyielding, eternal. Tonight, as we reach the end of our journey, let us linger on one final question. Why do these monuments still captivate us? Why, after thousands of years, do the pyramids remain not just structures of stone, but mysteries that refuse to die? Part of the answer lies in their endurance. Empires rose and fell, cities crumbled, languages vanished, but the pyramids remained. They outlived pharaohs, conquerors, even the civilizations that built them. They are time made solid, eternity carved into stone. To stand before them is to feel both small and infinite at once. Another part lies in their contradictions. The pyramids are both known and unknown, familiar yet alien. We know they are tombs, but we do not know why they are aligned so perfectly with stars. We know they were built by human hands, but we do not know exactly how. Every answer spawns new questions. Every discovery deepens the mystery. And perhaps that is the secret. The pyramids are not puzzles to be solved, but questions to be lived with. Think of what they represent. They are monuments of ambition, of faith, of cooperation. They are symbols of humanity's drive to reach beyond itself, to build something that touches eternity. Whether you see them as tombs, machines, messages, or miracles, they reflect us. They are mirrors of our curiosity, our fears, our dreams. Now imagine yourself standing before the Great Pyramid one last time. The moonlight paints its edges silver. The wind whispers across the plateau. You place your hand against the stone, feeling the chill that has soaked into it across thousands of nights. And you realize this monument does not just belong to the past. It belongs to you right here, right now. This mystery is your mystery. Its endurance is your reminder. Here's a playful thought to leave you smiling. Imagine Pharaoh Khufu, somewhere in the afterlife, looking down at us. He sees tourists snapping selfies, scientists with lasers, storytellers like me spinning tales. He chuckles and says, "I told you they would still be talking about me." And he was right. The pyramid ensured that his name, his legacy, his mystery would echo forever. So, what is the strangest secret hidden in the pyramids? Is it lost technology, alien visitors, spiritual gateways, or is it something simpler, but just as profound, that the greatest secret is not hidden in stone, but in us, that our endless fascination, our refusal to stop asking, what if? That is the true eternal mystery. As our journey closes tonight, I want to thank you for walking through the sands of time with me, for daring to peer into shadows and stars alike. And before you go, I will leave you with a question. If one day you could step into a newly discovered chamber inside the Great Pyramid, and it held a message written for the future, what do you hope it would say? Tell me in the comments below, and let me know what mysteries you would like us to explore next. Until then, sleep well, dream of pyramids, and remember, the mystery is never truly over.